Okay, welcome to the consolidation activity. Um, we'll go ahead and work over these problems. Here's number one. Selling shirts outside the ballpark, Marcos gets paid $50 a day plus $3 for every shirt he sells. He also has to pay $1 for tax for every shirt he sells. He models his earnings for the day as E equals 3S plus 50 minus 1S, where E represents the total earnings and S represents the number of shirts he sells. To figure out the number of shirts he has to sell to earn $100 for the day, Marcos solves an equation and justifies his steps. Is Marco's conclusion right? If not, what mistakes did he make? How many shirts would he need to sell to earn $100? Okay, so looking at our equation right here, remember E is for earnings, and he wants to earn $100. So in place of E, they do put 100. And it says right here, to find out how many shirts I have to sell to earn $100, I substitute 100 for E in the function equation. Let's see what the next part says. I use the commutative property to rearrange terms and collect the S terms. Okay, so remember, for each shirt, he earns $3 and he has to pay $1 for the shirt for taxes. So 3S minus 1S plus the $50 that he had to that he gets paid. Okay. The next part says I applied the distributive property in reverse to factor out S from 3S minus 1S. So you can see here that both of these have an S in common, so they took out an S, and then this ends up being 3 minus 1, okay? And we know that 3 minus 1 is 2, and 2 times S is 2S. So it says here, I simplified by subtracting 1 from 3 to get 2. Okay, I'm looking at this right here, and I'm thinking 3S minus 1S, that's 2S, plus 50. Okay, so I would go from here straight to here. The next part says I use the division property of equality, dividing expressions on both sides of the equal sign by 2. So they divided this by 2 and they divided this by 2. Okay, I'm seeing a problem here because of this. The first thing that they should have done is subtract 50 on both sides. So here is a mistake. I divided to simplify the expression. So 100 divided by 2 is 50. 2S divided by 2 is S plus 50. Now we already know that this here is the mistake. I use the subtraction property of equality, subtracting 50 from both sides of the equal sign. I subtracted to get the solution of 0 shirts. So even if I don't sell any shirts, I still make $100. We obviously know that this is not correct. And I'm not really a big fan of showing you stuff that is incorrect, but I did point out the mistake right away. From this point here, we should have subtracted 50 first. Okay, so if you don't know your order of operations, when we're solving equations, we have to go in reverse order. Okay, so instead of multiplying or dividing first, we should have subtracted first. But let's go ahead and move on. Number 2 says Ava and Bernardo each tried to solve the equation -3 times the quantity of x minus 5 equals 20. They each got different results. Well, let's take a look here. So obviously one of them is wrong. Let's take a look. So here's the equation. First step we should do is distribute. So we have -3 times x, which is -3x. That is correct. Then we have negative 3 times negative 5. Does that equal negative 15? Think about that for a second. Negative 3 times negative 5 is a positive 15. So this should be a plus 15 right here. Let's see if Bernardo did that correctly. So negative 3x, that is correct. Negative 3 times negative 5 is a positive 15. So Bernardo is the one so far that is correct. Just with this part right here, a lot of these things here are done correctly, and they did all this work and did a nice job, but because they made a mistake right here from the beginning, their answer is off. Okay, let's check out Bernardo's work, see if he did okay. We know that this part is correct because we just did that. Our next step here would be subtraction P property of equality. Okay, we need to get rid of this plus 15, and the way we get rid of plus 15 is by subtracting 15. And what I do to one side, I need to do to the other side. So notice I subtracted 15 and I subtracted 15. Got to keep that equation balanced. So on this side, we have negative 3x, positive 15, and negative 15 is 0. So there's nothing else here. On the other side of the equation, we have 20 minus 15, which is 5. Okay, I need to get rid of multiply by negative 3, so I need to divide by negative 3. Okay, so, and what I do to one side, I need to do to the other side. Keep the equation balanced. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. 1 times x is just x. And on this side, we have negative 5 over 3. And the proper way to write this is most of the time we don't have negatives on the bottom. If you do, you usually switch it to the top. So for example, all three of these are the same. Okay, this is the same as this one, this is the same as this, and this is the same here, okay? Which is written like, it's supposed to look like this, where the negative is right here instead of with the 5. It's on the side. All three of these are the same. Typically, this one isn't as proper, it's not as commonly used. I typically either use this one or this one here, okay? Which is this right here. I just circled this one because that way you can see more clearly what I'm talking about. So anytime you see this negative on the bottom, you can put it on the top like this one here, or you can write it this way. All right, so whose solution is correct? We know that it's Bernardo here. What mistake did the other student make? Well, we know it's right here. They did not distribute properly. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in. Ava did not distribute properly. All right, let's go ahead and look at letter B. What is Bernardo's justification for rewriting the original equation as negative 3x plus 15 equals 20 in the first step of his solution? So why did he write it this way? Well, he distributed properly. So let's go ahead and write that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 3.